Been a good week of practice since the SMU game. Obviously this time of year it's good to get a few days, and we were able to focus on ourselves as well as obviously moving into a very, very challenging road trip against a really hot team, one of the very best teams in this conference, and playing Tulane. They've won 4 games in a row, so we know what kind of great challenge it's going to be for us tomorrow.
They're three-headed monster, like probably as good as anybody in the country. So just what type of challenge does that present?
Obviously, they're just all dynamic scorers, and it's more than just those 3 guys, but those 3 in particular. And they do it just when you talk about point guard, wing, post. And he's so versatile in the post. So, just going to be a challenge. And they're such good one-on-one scorers as well. Like, it's not just out of their system in terms of using coming off-ball screens or playing out of a system. Like when the clock gets low, they can go get it on their own. Early in the shot clock in transition, they're as good as anybody there is, probably in the country. I mean, they're a top 10 pace team in the country. So anytime you got 3 guys that can score early in the clock, late in the clock, and out of their offense, I mean, obviously it's a great challenge for you defensively.
You guys are close to a top 30 team in offense and rebounding, I think second in the conference. Is that like a focus of yours, or is it just like a product of how you guys play? I mean, I'm sure it's more difficult than like defense or rebounding.
I think there's 2 components there. The positive is, yes, we focus on it quite a bit. We focus on it. We've had different schemes in terms of how many guys we send to the glass, different games. I mean, we've done different things. And there's been games that it's hurt us in transition. You look back to that Wichita State game at home. We were really aggressive going to the glass. They really hurt us in transition. So it's worked both ways. But kind of the unfortunate piece of that is sometimes you're a really good offensive rebounding team because you don't shoot the ball as well as – so there's more misses. Mm-hmm. So, there's been games we've shot it well and rebounded it well. But I, over the course of the years, as I've watched teams, and you watch teams that are kind of trying to build, offensive rebounding is something that, sometimes the game starts when the ball goes up. Because maybe you can't count on saying, hey, we're just going to shoot the ball 50% every game. And we've had a few good games like that, shooting. And I really do believe we're a good shooting team. But you can control going to the offensive glass. Sometimes even a great shooting team doesn't shoot the ball well on any given night, but you can control your scheme trying to be aggressive on the glass. And then the last part is, I think we got some really good rebounders naturally. Brandon Johnson is a very good rebounder. Ezra is getting there as a great rebounder in the front court. And then guys like R.J. Felton, Ben Biella, they rebound really well. And Javon Small, when he was there, he was rebounding well. So it's kind of a combination of everything.
What is a great game for you out of Brandon? He can do so many different things for you. So, what is it like? Does it depend on the opponent, or, you just kind of...
No, I don't think it's a depend on the opponent type thing for Brandon. Brandon is a absolute leader on this team. Brandon is an absolute guy that we count on. He's a frontline guy for us in every which way. Offense, defense, playing in the post, playing in the mid-range, and keeping the floor spaced out, and obviously rebounding. So Brandon has been consistent all year. So when you say a good game for Brandon, we put a lot on Brandon's plate. He plays 35-plus minutes a game as well. So we have whatever Brandon does, Brandon knows his role. The guys, most importantly, know what Brandon's role is. All we want Brandon to do, you say, what is a good game? Stay aggressive. Stay aggressive on offense, stay aggressive on defense, stay aggressive rebounding the basketball, and there's no reason for him ever to not be aggressive. And Brandon's done that, and that's why we ultimate confidence in him.
Jaden playing the vast majority of the last game at the point, is that something you want to see going forward? Is it more of a game to game type deal, how it unfolds?
Probably everything is game to game with our team right now because our rotation is what it is in terms of losing some guys. But absolutely, and there were games early in the year where Jaden was playing behind Javon at the point. He might have been starting at the 2 or the 3 or the 4 like he did early in the season. But when Javon went out of the game, Jaden came in and played the point some along with Caleb. So. And again, we've talked with when we brought Jaden here, when Jaden came to ECU, playing the point and being a secondary ball handler was something that was definitely in the in the vision. But absolutely, he'll play a lot of point guard going down the stretch. But I think like anybody, if he's having success somewhere else or he may be struggling at a certain point, we have to find ways to move guys around. But yeah, absolutely, Jaden will have the ball in his hands quite a bit.
How big was it for you guys to have this week coming off a win, at this point in the season?
It was big, whether win or loss, whatever the SMU game results had been. It was big to have this week academically to allow the guys to really get back. Because this time of year, you're traveling quite a bit, and we've had a couple road stretches, just like we're getting ready to go on right now. And then next week, we go back on the road for 2 in a row. And 3 of our next 4 games are on the road. So anytime you get a week like this where the guys can hone in academically, then they get to hone in on their bodies physically, mentally, kind of get recharged a little bit. And the biggest thing is we get to focus on ourselves for a couple of days as opposed to just going right to the next opponent. A lot of time you play a game, win or lose on Saturday, Sunday, Monday, you're right back on an opponent for a Tuesday, Wednesday game. We had a chance, at least in those 2 or 3 days, to look at, hey, where do we need to try and be better as we moved into the latter part of the week and moved to one of the very best teams in this league, Tulane, in scouting-wise.
Has Javon been able to make any progress as far as getting on the court, do anything?
Yeah, I think he's back in, doing stuff on the treadmill. He's doing stuff shooting. As far as what that means on when he's back available to be, clear to play live, no answer on that yet. But he's definitely making progress, and our training staff and strength and conditioning staff are doing an incredible job. And he's working every day. He's in great spirits. The biggest thing is Javon has also really done a great job being a vocal leader for this team during practice, during games, in the locker room. He has been, and that's big for him. And he's made a huge impact, and just proud of him because he's with us every step of the way, even though he's obviously not on the court right now.
Sometimes it might be hard for players who aren't playing to have that impact. I mean, is that natural for him to be able to do that? Or?
It's my first time going through it with him, so I don't know if it's natural. I know that he's doing a great job with it, and what I do know is as a point guard, it's someone that is a sure-shot leader on this team, and somebody that the coaching staff and his teammates have the ultimate confidence in. We can't wait till he's back with us, that it just is another level, another layer he is adding to his game and to who he is as a person. Because it isn't just about putting the ball in the basket or having good numbers or, it's so much more than that, particularly as a point guard. And he's doing it, and I think this is going to help him moving forward.
Like, is he getting a good, like when he's on the bench, like is he getting a good look, like almost like coach's type of view, and he's kind of watching the game?
I think so. I think we've talked about it, and I think anytime you see the game through a little bit of a different lens, because he knows he's not going to be in the game that game. He knows during practice, all right, I'm not practicing today. So I think you always see something a little differently. You've always heard players talk about that when they've got injured. They see things from a little bit of a different lens, and I think this lens is going to really be a positive for him.